As a child, I was headstrong. I questioned a lot of things, and I loved the stars. My mom and her siblings escaped Vietnam as boat refugees, and they used celestial navigation in order to find their way to freedom. So the stars were always really deeply meaningful.
My childhood dreams were to be an astronaut.
If I'm gonna use my blink of an eye in this universe, I'm gonna make it matter.
I got into college to study astrophysics, but my astronaut dreams were put on hold when I was raped during my last semester. And I was outraged when I discovered that my rape kit could be destroyed by the government at 6 months. And the more that I tried to find out where the DNA from my body was taken, the more I found out how broken the criminal justice system was.
And when I spoke up about my story, so many other survivors reached out. Similar things had happened to them. They said their evidence was destroyed. That's the moment I decided, all right, the story is not mine alone, and I have a choice. I can accept this injustice or rewrite the law. Yeah, so I rewrote it. This process has made me feel an incredible amount of agency.
I drafted and passed the Sexual Assault Survivor Bill of Rights through the United States Congress and through the United Nations. So many people told us that it was impossible to pass any legislation through a hyper-partisan gridlock Congress, but impossible is just an opinion.
It felt like a curse was breaking. This weight that had been on me had lifted. There are very few activists that in their lifetime put out an idea and then are able to go back to who they were before they were hurt.
And now I get to fulfill that promise. I'm going to be the first Vietnamese woman and the first Southeast Asian woman to go to space, and I'm really proud of that heritage.
And so when I look out at Earth, I will be sobbing. For me, what's important is holding open the door so that a lot more people can experience this too. Welcome to What's in an Astronaut's Closet. Showing myself means being authentic. It means showing everything. My story, my heritage, my pain, but also my joy. I think joy is the most radical form of rebellion, and so I will be joyful.
A red lip to me makes me feel confident, bold, and myself. And I put on a red lip before I testified in front of the world.
It means not only that you are in the room and that you have something to say, but it means that you are there for yourself. I want everyone to know that you can stand up for what you believe in and also still achieve your dreams, no matter who you are or where you're from.
Please welcome the founder of RISE, Astronaut, Amanda Nguyen.
Wow, I'm so grateful to everyone who's here today. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply grateful for you being here, uplifting the voices of women today. I'm especially grateful to the UN Spotlight Initiative, to my partner Koye, and to the missions of Vietnam, Sweden, and Uruguay. You might notice that my baby photo is showing. Today, each speaker and honoree will share their baby photo with you. And that's because before these women became iconic, we all started as children. Children can be powerless and vulnerable, but the distance from where those children were to who the icons are today happened in one lifetime. It's a reminder that every person here has the power to change the world. I still remember when I felt powerless, walking out of the hospital all those years ago after my rape kit procedure. I had never more fully understood the definition of lonely than at that moment. And when I look at this crowd, I am not lonely anymore. Oh, thanks. The worst thing that happened to me wasn't being raped. It was finding out that justice systems are broken. And so I fought for rape survivors' rights. When we were fighting to pass the United Nations resolution, people told me that it would be impossible. But here at the United Nations, we passed the first ever UNGA standalone resolution for rape survivors by consensus. Impossible is just an opinion. I am thankful to each member state that is here today. Our fight for gender-based violence is not over yet. The next phase of RISE's advocacy is for a universal jurisdiction treaty for rape survivors to pursue legal recourse regardless of borders, because justice should not depend on geography. Today might be the last day of Women's History Month, but we're going to keep pushing for women's rights all year long. Thank you so much for being here and adding your voice to celebrate these women and to make the world safer for all. You prove to me that no one is powerless when we come together. Thank you.
Now performing, please welcome Milk.
The king's shadow is moving again. Baby, there's blood in the river. Get ready for storms ahead. Call on the sisters of winter. Breathe out, don't keep it in. Grief is a sacred giver. Keep steady and rest your head. At dawn we ride together. When the sky turns golden, we will ride, ride. For mothers, fathers who have cried. I stand before you today barefoot, as an echo of the barefoot peace walk in Rome, where 10 Israeli and 10 Palestinian mothers came together, walking barefoot through the city, declaring for a better way. And as we talk about women breaking barriers, I hold them with me today. In Palestine, today is Earth Day, where the children, the families plant a tree. I ask us to reflect on the seeds that our ancestors planted in the soil, the seeds that you have been planting, and I ask us to reflect on the soil that we leave for our children. What seeds can they plant? And so I will sing for you the Mother's Call, the song that Reem and Yael asked me to write for them. Thank you so much. I want a different way. You pray for brighter days. Meet me by the olive trees where our children could play. I wanna walk beside each other. The land beneath our feet will smile when we're free to walk beside each other. The call of the mothers could lead us home. Let the call of the mothers lead us home. Thank you.
Please welcome Sandra, Kwon.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you and RISE and Amanda and Spotlight for inviting me here to speak to all of you today. My name is Sandra Jeannie Kwon, but some of you may know me as Jeannie Weenie. I started my journey in the skies as your favorite, overworked flight attendant, and later on social media by finding the humor in the chaos of human behavior. But as my platform grew to reach millions, I realized that comedy is more than just a laugh. It is a bridge. It is a way to dismantle stereotypes and reclaim a narrative that for too long has been written for us rather than by us. As an Asian Canadian woman, I was often met with the model minority myth, the expectation to be quiet, compliant, and invisible in the face of friction. In the service industry and even in the creator space, there is a subtle pressure to keep the peace, even when that peace is maintained at the expense of our own safety and dignity. But sharing my stories, I realized that millions of women were looking for permission to take up space. Whether it's standing up to a rude passenger in one of my comedy skits, or advocating for better protection for workers, the message is the same. Our voice, they're not turbulence, they're the engine. But breaking barriers is a privilege that is not afforded to everyone equally. Today, we must acknowledge the regions where those barriers are not made of glass, but of fire and silence. We carry with us the stories of women and girls in Palestine, the Congo, Sudan, where the simple act of just existing is a form of resistance. We stand with the women of Iran and Afghanistan, whose courage is a beacon in the face of systemic erasure, and those in Ukraine and Haiti and beyond, who are anchoring their families amidst the storm of conflict. In these places, the fight for safety and bodily autonomy isn't a social debate or a headline, it's a heartbeat. To address this isn't to take a political side, it is to take the side of our shared humanity. To every woman watching from the corner of the world that I haven't named today, please know that your struggle is seen, your dignity is non-negotiable, and your safety should never be a luxury. To the men and the boys watching, we need you to do more than just listen. True allyship isn't standing behind us, it's standing beside us and using your influence to call out those behaviors that diminish us. And to the daughters of the world, including my own two girls, my 16-year-old and my 3-year-old, you are the authors of the next chapter. To my oldest, who is navigating a world that will try to tell her who to be, and to my 3-year-old, who sees this world as a place of endless possibility, stay bold. Your strength is not found in how much you can endure, but in how loudly you can live your truth. Never, ever apologize for the space that you occupy. I use my platform to tell stories because stories, they humanize us. They make it harder to hate and easier to understand. Today, I am asking the international community to invest in the safety of women with the same urgency we invest in innovation and industry. Let's build a world where a woman's history isn't defined by the barriers she broke, but by the heights she reached because those barriers were finally gone. Thank you so much.
Please welcome 22-time Paralympic medalist Tatyana McFadden.
Thank you. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me today, and thank you to Rise, Amanda, and Spotlight for inviting me to speak. You know, we all have stories to tell, and I'm delighted to share my story with you. I have had such an improbable life, taking me from a Russian orphanage with little hope to a loving home in America, to a neighborhood parasports program that introduced me to wheelchair racing, and finally to the track in Athens in 2004, where I earned my first 2 Paralympic medals. And I'm here. And I'm here with 22 Paralympic medals to my name, claiming the title of the most decorated track athlete in U.S. history. My life has indeed been a miracle, but it hasn't always been easy. I have experienced with what so many women with disabilities have experienced in their lives: discrimination, harassment, and violence. Sadly, girls and women with disabilities experience significantly higher rates of violence than the general population. Estimates suggest that we are 2 to 3 times more likely to experience abuse, often perpetrated by those closest to us. We appear more vulnerable, and we are, sometimes unable to speak or reach out for help, or like me, without my wheelchair, unable to run from a dangerous situation. Lack of resources, access, and isolation are scary words for people with disabilities, particularly when facing the threat of violence. Though I don't talk about it often, I too have been a victim. I've experienced violence firsthand in my orphanage, where nighttime caretakers took out their frustration on the innocent young children, me included, who were beaten and more just because we simply had to go to the bathroom. This happened without warning night after night. As I got older, it was my unspoken responsibility to help and comfort those who just were too young to understand. I was only 6. This is just one small example of what goes on silently in every corner of the world. Young girls with disabilities living their days and nights in fear. And those who can use their voice are often disregarded because of their disability. But I'm the lucky one. I do have a voice, and I have a platform. And I use my platform to speak out for the rights of girls and women with disabilities every chance I get, hoping that my words will inspire others to stop this violence wherever and whenever it happens. We all share the responsibility for making this world a safer place for all girls and women, yes. But most importantly, those with disabilities who have no voice and who are so easily and so often forgotten. Thank you.
Please welcome the founder and executive director of Code to Inspire, Fereshteh Forough.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Rise, Amanda, and Spotlight for this honor. I'm Fereshteh Forough. I founded the first coding school for girls in Afghanistan. I was born a refugee in Iran. I grew up knowing what it means to have your future decided for you. But I also know what happens when a woman refuses to accept that. Education gave me a way out. Technology gave me a voice, and I decided that voice would be heard. In 2015, I built Code to Inspire inside Afghanistan because I refused to believe that the girls there deserved any less of a future than I had been given. This month marks 5 years since the Taliban banned girls from education. One of the most sweeping attacks on women's rights in modern history. 5 years of silenced classrooms, 5 years of stolen futures. An entire generation is told that their minds don't matter, that their ambitions are a threat, that simply being female is reason enough to be erased. This is gender-based violence, and the world's silence is not neutrality. It is complicity. Since 2015, Code to Inspire has educated more than 1,420 young women in Afghanistan. Despite the bans on schools, universities, and workplaces, our students never gave up. They continue to log on, learn, and build, quietly, persistently, and with extraordinary courage. Together, our students have completed nearly $116,000 in remote projects. More than a third of our graduates are now the sole breadwinners of their families. They're not waiting to be saved. They're already forging their own path. This taught me something, and I want to leave with you today. You must confront the system that try to erase you. Gender-based violence is not only physical. It is the ban on a girl's education. It is the economic strangulation. It is the slow, deliberate erasure of women from public life, carried out not with weapons alone, but with policy, silence, and willingness to look away. Every time one of our students submits a project or earns her first paycheck, she's an act of resistance. She's proved that no ban, no wall, and no system of oppression can extinguish a woman's will to exist, to lead, and to build. Trailblazing is not fearlessness. It's choosing to move forward when everything tells you to stop. If you're serious about ending gender-based violence, we must be serious about investing in women's education, expanding digital access, and protecting economic freedom. The girls of Afghanistan have held for 5 years, with no classroom, with no guarantee, and no certainty that the world was paying attention. They held on anyway. You are the people with the power to respond. The question is not whether they deserve your support. The question is whether we will be worthy of their trust. When women are empowered, violence loses power, peace prevails. My thanks to all of you for being ardent advocates of empowered women, bringing peace to our world.
Please welcome the Chief Executive Officer of Time Magazine, Jessica Sibley.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me here today. Thank you, Rise, Amanda, and Spotlight for having me speak with you. Amanda, where are you? Amanda, you are the reason we are all in this room today. In 2022, Time named you a Woman of the Year. We did it because you looked at a system that had failed you, and instead of walking away, you changed it. You passed a law, and then more laws. And then you went to space. You are what women breaking barriers look like in action. And we are grateful to be standing here today beside you. In March of 1923, Time was founded by two men for busy men that didn't have a lot of time. This is a true story. I'm telling you. The magazine, listen to this, the magazine set out to be the briefing for influential men to quickly understand who and what mattered most. Okay, but even then, these men were smart enough to know that women, their achievements, their power, and their influence would always be a part of Time's story. In 1923, on the cover of Time magazine was blues legend Bessie Smith, who, Bessie Smith championed dignity and equality decades before the civil rights movement even had a name. In 1923, golfer Edith Cummings, a major inspiration for The Great Gatsby, became the first female athlete on our cover. Martha Graham, who founded modern dance, appeared on the cover in 1930. Scientist Rosalind Franklin was on our cover in 1953. She helped identify DNA's double helix. And since then, we featured so many CEOs, from creative trailblazers like Oprah to AI innovators like Lisa Su. These are just some of the incredible women who've paved the way for all of us, including me. On February 1st, 1969, my mother walked out of the hospital with me and a very big dream. Just a kid from Brooklyn who was raised by a single mom. I always dreamed of being here today. I saw my mother struggle financially, and my number one goal was to always be able to pay my own bills without ever having to ask anyone for a handout. And I have achieved that and so much more. At Time, we promise to tell all of your stories, just like we have for over the last 100 years. As CEO of Time, I have the incredible privilege and honor, and I am so grateful to be part of Time's story. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage our Women in STEM honorees.
There is a statistic that 50% of women in STEM don't get to continue their careers because of gender-based violence. And I am so grateful to have beaten those odds. But when I was given the opportunity to be able to essentially share who could come and speak and address world leaders, I wanted to share the stage with everyone that you've heard from today, and also from my fellow astronauts who are trailblazers. So please, we want to honor these women in STEM. For each one, I'm going to say their names, and if you could applaud for them, that would be so great. Also, I changed outfits. All right. Please put your hands together for Dr. Cyan Proctor, astronaut, mission pilot for Inspirational 4, first Black woman to be a mission pilot. Please put your hands together for Sharon Hagel, astronaut, NS-20 and NS-28, founder of Space Kids Global. Please put your hands together for astronaut Katya Echezarreta, NS-21 mission, first Mexican-born woman to fly to space. Next, please welcome astronaut Keisha Shahaf, Galactic 2 mission, first mother and daughter flight together. Next is astronaut Nicolina Elrich, completed NS-26, first Scottish-born woman to fly to space and first person to represent Singapore in space. Next is my crewmate, Carrie Ann Flynn, completed NS-31, first all-female crew in history and independent filmmaker. Next is Dr. Gretchen Green, NS-32, a radiologist specializing in women's imaging, first woman physician commercial astronaut. Next is Allie Keener, NS-33, environmentalist and conservationist. Next is Deborah Martorell, completed NS-34, first broadcast meteorologist in space. And these last two are very special to me. Next is Sarah Knights, my astronaut trainer, as well as every other astronaut trainer here, who trained 26% of all women that have gone to space. And finally, the person who will probably win a Nobel, Dr. Janin Dagdaviran, MIT professor. Woo! I want to say thank you so much. I know so many of you here are from the STEM community and aerospace community. Please put your hands together and help me congratulate these women. Woo!
Please welcome astronaut Katya Echezarreta.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the honor of allowing me to speak to you today. My name is Katya Echezarreta, and when I was around 7 years old, my family left Guadalajara, Mexico, and crossed into a country where I did not speak the language at all. My family was separated from everyone we ever knew for years during the immigration process without being allowed to visit them or see them. But I come from a long line of women who were never given the choice, any choice. Generations of women in my family who were brilliant, strong, intelligent, capable women. And they had paths that were decided for them. What they would do, who they would marry, where they were allowed to go. My great-grandmother, the woman I am named after, once shaved her own head because she thought it would stop an unwanted marriage. She thought that if she made herself smaller, removed her own femininity, that she might be left alone. It didn't work. She married anyway. Now, I not only carry her name, but I carry her resistance forward. Everyone in my family agrees that this family has never seen a freer spirit than her. Even with everything she was forced into, and even in the cage that she lived in. And I wonder what she would have been capable of if she had been granted my shoes. I am the first woman in my family line, going back as far as anyone can trace, who has been able to make her own choices. And I am also sure that that is the case for so many of you today. And those choices led me outside of this very planet. From beyond the Kármán line, I looked back at everything and I felt how fragile and precious the life down here really is. And yet, I thought about every woman who never got the chance to look up at her dreams. I am from Latin America, and I am proudly Mexican American, and I love my roots deeply. But I also understand that in this region and in so many countries around the world, women are not just being held back. They're being disappeared, they're being taken, and they're being murdered. How can a woman worry about what it is she's going to study when she doesn't even know if the bus ride that she has to take home at night is going to be the choice that finally kills her? If we truly want to advance as a civilization, if we want to solve the problems that brought us into this room today, then half of the population cannot be afraid for their lives. That is not a women's issue. It is a human issue, and it is one that we have the power to correct only collectively. I am here because of the women who came before me and cleared enough space for me to choose, even when the only tool they had was their own defiance, and I refuse to be the last one who gets to. I think sometimes we tend to forget that certain regions of the world have access to so many different things that many other countries simply do not. When I think, for example, about how 40 years passed from the moment of the first Mexican man traveled to space before the first Mexican woman in space arrived, 40 years in between those two events. And we think as well about the fact that sometimes you can be so intelligent and you can be so dedicated and you can be so prepared and you can be so talented, and that can still not be enough. Because so many of these nations around the world do not have access to something, for example, like education. You do not have access to be able to even want to make such a choice. And when the rest of us who have been granted the possibility to dream, and then beyond that, the opportunity to be able to make those dreams come true, I personally see it as a responsibility to act, to ensure that other women around the world will be granted the same opportunities you had. Every girl deserves to grow up safe. Every woman deserves to take up space here on Earth, but yes, of course, beyond it. Thank you so much, Rise. Thank you, Amanda. You know I love you so, so much. And Spotlight for the invitation today. But I really want this to be a call to action for everybody here, because it's going to take constant daily work from all of us, but particularly from the men, to truly make this a reality. Thank you once again.
Please welcome Dr. Cyan Proctor.
Thank you to your excellencies and everyone breaking barriers, and especially Amanda for giving us all a voice here today. In 2021, I got selected to go to space through poetry, and this poem is titled, Why We Rise. Do you think we rise for you to break as we swirl against the relentless crimson waves of hate, smashing against the sacred power that is femininity. Watch as we consistently and relentlessly birth new opportunity, generating a tidal force of existence, quaking upon historic ideology, knowing full well that our resistance requires no apology. With a split red lip, we vow to never back down, because together we forge for her, that little girl, a future crown, a sparkling and bedazzled spotlight, glimmering through her darkest night, beaming with our collective willingness to continually rise up beyond the fight, taking blow upon blow to break down the barriers of his story. Through disruption and innovation, we celebrate here today a future filled with her story. Thank you.
Please welcome Grammy-nominated recording artist and songwriter, Audrey Nuna.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Rise, to Amanda Nguyen, and to Spotlight Initiative for having me today. I'm honored to stand before you as a proud daughter of immigrants. When I was first pitched to sing the voice of a character named Mira in Kpop Demon Hunters, I never could have imagined the journey that saying yes would take me on. But more exciting than the global stages and the awards, I could have never imagined the impact. Progressing the conversation around female-centric stories, empowering kids to embrace their whole selves and to be proud of where they come from. That is the power of representation. I stand before you as just one voice in a long legacy of women who have fought and are still fighting for change. My success is not mine alone, and with it comes a responsibility to advocate for, to fund, and to help build a more equitable world where the next generation of women and girls do not have to fight so hard to be seen, to be heard, and to lead. As we make significant strides for equal and more fair representation in culture and media, I feel compelled today to share the harsh realities of where we actually stand when it comes to the fight for gender equity, equal opportunity, rights, and safety. Today, we live in a world where 119 million girls are out of school globally, and 640 million women alive today were married when they were children. And here, in the wealthiest nation on earth, children are too afraid to go to school. A Stanford University study found that immigration enforcement caused an estimated 725,000 school days to be lost across California's Central Valley. Not to a natural disaster, not to a pandemic, but to fear. Again, as a daughter of immigrants, these are not abstractions to me. My manager and I recently launched a scholarship for BIPOC women pursuing education. We read and cried over numerous stories of brilliant women. Our winner was a girl named Fatima from Pakistan. When a deadly flood affected her town, she built solar panels from scratch to combat 17-hour power shortages. When her school failed her, she taught herself advanced math and programming, and then she took this knowledge and taught fellow girls in her community everything that she knew by hosting local hackathons. Born in a world and a system that has utterly failed her, Fatima continues to rise. Stories like Fatima's give me the strength and the unwavering resolve to believe in a future where a girl's access to education is not a privilege, but a birthright, and the duty of every government to protect that birthright. A world where female leadership is not a luxury or an afterthought, but an urgent, strategic investment in a stronger world. The data speaks clearly. When 10% more girls go to school, a country's GDP rises by 3%. Investing in women and girls is not charity. It is the single most effective and transformative thing a society can do. Today, I urge any and all world leaders and my fellow citizens to be bold. We must put real money and expertise behind organizations like the Lunos Fund, Girls Who Code, and Kids in Need of Defense, working to ensure girls' and children's safety and access to equitable education. We must take our love, we must take our anger far past social media alone, straight to the polls, to the fundraisers, and of course to the art that we make. There is a long road ahead, but today, my team and I pledge to use every ounce of our privilege and platform to stay in this fight. And as Alice Walker once wrote of our mothers and grandmothers, we must keep moving to music not yet written. That music is ours now, and I do hope you'll join us. Thank you so much.
Please welcome the permanent representative of Vietnam to the United Nations, Ambassador Do Hung Viet.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning. I'm most humbled to be part of this impressive event and this amazing lineup of inspirational speakers, women speakers. It's really no pressure, and especially speaking right after Audrey Nuna. It's just like being at home, asking my wife and my 3 daughters to add me singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars to their playlist after Hunter X's Golden. But let me start by thanking Rice and thank you, Amanda, and the UN Spotlight Initiative for organizing this event today. And what better way to cap off the Women's History Month. It's particularly fitting that we shed the spotlight today on breaking barriers right here in the General Assembly Hall, the heart of the United Nations and of multilateralism, where we are working every day to try and create a better future, a better life for our planet, for our nations, and for each and every one of our people. When we speak about breaking barriers, we often think about extraordinary achievements. Many are extraordinary indeed. A woman in space, a woman leading a company, a woman winning a Grammy Award, a woman shaping global conversations. And today we are fortunate to hear from women who have broken barriers to become these extraordinary women they are today. But most barriers are invisible. Opportunities that never come, social norms that quietly limit choices, the lasting impact of violence that takes time and support to heal. This is why breaking barriers is not only about extraordinary achievements. It's about ensuring equal access to opportunities at every stage of life. It's about creating a safe, just, and enabling space for women and girls to thrive and to lead. It's about shifting social norms to eliminate discrimination and advance policies that would empower women and girls economically, politically, socially, and judicially. And here, every achievement can be life-changing. Every achievement is extraordinary. I come from a country that is trying to do just that. Vietnamese women have always been the heart of our nation, as soldiers defending our nation, as peace negotiators, as leaders in political system, as innovators, entrepreneurs, as educators, and of course, as pillars of our families and our communities. 30% of our newly elected parliamentarians just this month are women, a slight but meaningful increase from 26% of the last tenure. As part of our efforts to remove barriers, we have expanded access to justice and support victims of gender-based violence. Legal aid and protection services are available nationwide. Community-based support models are expanding, including one-stop services centers supported by UN agencies. A lot more can be said, of course, but I'll do that in other forums. It suffices to say that seeing is believing, and I welcome all of you to visit Vietnam. And one final thought. Breaking barriers is a shared responsibility of men and women alike. And it is through the smallest steps that barriers begin to shift. Let us start to take those small steps today, consistently, and with determination. I thank you.
Please welcome the permanent representative of Sweden to the United Nations, Ambassador Nicola Clase.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, but most importantly, to all the young people in this room. Let me start by doing a bit of time travel and start with a moment that almost didn't happen. In December 1945, shortly after the UN was founded, a woman received a message from the President of the United States. Would she represent her country at the UN General Assembly? Her answer came quickly. Oh no, it would be impossible. She didn't feel ready. She had no formal training in diplomacy, no experience in international negotiations. And yet, she said yes. That woman was Eleanor Roosevelt. And that single yes helped shape the world we are standing in today. Because what she understood is something every young person here should hear. History is not made by people who feel fully prepared. It's made by people who decide to step forward anyway and break barriers. Let me share something personal. Each morning on my way to work, I pass a former home. It's easy to miss, quiet, almost hidden. But I never miss what it represents, because I'm reminded that history is not only made in grand halls like this one, it's also made by individuals walking forward despite doubt. Eleanor Roosevelt did more than participate in history. She helped write it through the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And as the first chair of the UN Commission on Human Rights, as she asked a question that still challenges us today: where do universal human rights begin? Her answer was powerful in its simplicity: in small places close to home, in neighborhoods, in classrooms, in workplaces, in the everyday life of women and girls who seek not special treatment but equal opportunity. Because if rights are not real there, they're not real anywhere. Years later, Eleanor Roosevelt made another pioneer, the Swedish diplomat Agda Rössel. In 1958, Agda Rössel became the first woman ever to serve as permanent representative to the United Nations. One woman helped define universal rights. Another walked through the doors those rights opened. And that is how progress happens. not in isolation, but in connection, not in one moment, but across generations. And yet, today we must be honest. Millions of women and girls still face barriers. Barriers in law, barriers in systems, barriers enforced by violence and silence. When a girl cannot safely go to school, when a woman cannot find justice, when violence goes unanswered, we lose more than individuals, we lose futures. But we also see something else. We see a lot of courage among people like you. By stepping forward, you are expanding what is possible for others. Here at the United Nations, we often debate words, and words matter. But experience teaches us something deeper. Opening doors is important. Keeping them open is the real work. Progress is not guaranteed. It must be built, protected, renewed by each generation. In the future, you are already shaping. Let that be the work that unites us, because you are the future. A very big thank you to Amanda, to RISE, and the United Nations Spotlight Initiative, and thank you to all of you.
Please welcome the permanent representative of Uruguay to the United Nations, Ambassador Laura Dupuy-Lasserre.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me and my country, of course, Uruguay, to co-organize with RISE. Thank you, Amanda, for this event dedicated to young women mainly, and to have listened to these truly inspiring testimonies from women entrepreneurs, athletes, musicians, and astronauts who have consistently challenged gender stereotypes and earned their place in fields often dominated by men. To all of them, I extend my deepest admiration. On a personal note, I take pride in believing that over the course of my over 30-year career as a diplomat, I also help break some of those barriers by stepping into spaces that never before were occupied by a woman. 15 years ago, in 2011, I became the first woman to serve as president of the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva. I was nominated by my region, Latin America and the Caribbean, and then now I serve, since last year, I'm the first Uruguayan woman ambassador to represent my country at United Nations as permanent representative, and that after 80 years of the UN. This could not occur without, of course, the inspiration of other great women who came before me, and also the mentoring of both men and women who believe in gender equality, in a true equality, both of rights, but also of opportunities. Throughout my career, I have taken on multiple roles, many of them highly demanding and challenging, which I have always approached with great honor and responsibility. Nevertheless, it has not always been easy, sometimes rocky even. On many occasions, I faced the same barriers mentioned by the speakers before me or others, which normally face women, like hours dedicated to care, unconscious bias, even digital violence. Just to put an example, after having been nominated by my peers as Human Rights Council President, I read on an article in the press in my country that was referring that a male ambassador would be designated then for that position, which clearly shows that certain top positions, at least for part of the public, seem to be out of reach of women. And that is probably the case still, because we didn't have in 80 years a woman as UN Secretary General. Then that's why I think that the events like this one are so important. By sharing our experiences, other women, especially young women, as we see today, who still face challenges and are often underestimated, can see that if they remain steadfast in their convictions and persistent in pursuing their goals, they can achieve whatever they set out to do, no matter how difficult it may seem. It is the women breaking barriers generation after generation what makes it possible for women like me to have the professional opportunities I have had. Groundbreaking visionary women who came before us paved the way for more women to participate in diplomacy, not merely as observers, but as decision makers and agents of change. I can mention one from my country, Isabel Pintos, who was a lawyer and politician, one of the two first women senators in my country, who happened also to be the only woman in Uruguay's delegation to the 1944-1945 negotiations of the UN Charter. But this, that I said is one in my delegation, was only one of the 5 women delegates negotiating the UN Charter, out of 8 women in total participating in that conference out of over 800 representatives. She proposed an amendment ensuring that participation in the organization's body would be open to both men and women on equal terms, an amendment that was ultimately incorporated into Article 8 of the UN Charter. They also worked, those women delegates, on the article against discrimination, including based on sex. Also, Latin American countries brought the concept of human rights into the draft UN Charter, being today one of its 3 pillars. As you see, all this was preceded by decades of feminist movements like the suffragist movements. All these women and many others around the world, through their sacrifice, perseverance, and determination, paved the way for women to access spaces and opportunities once considered, as I said, out of reach for women. In the same spirit, it is our responsibility as the women of today to continue breaking barriers and opening doors so that the young women of today and those of tomorrow may find a world with even greater opportunities, greater equality, fewer obstacles than those we have had to face. Each of you can make the difference. Thank you so much.
Please welcome the permanent representative of the European Union to the United Nations, Stavros Lambrinidis.
Dear friends, I thank the organizers of this event, Sweden, Uruguay, Vietnam, RISE, and the Spotlight Initiative, for closing Women's Month with such a powerful gathering. I celebrate the incredible women who spoke before us today, and all the women and girls out there who are survivors, athletes, diplomats, astronauts, scientists, creators, CEOs, community leaders, everyone. You're not just breaking barriers, you are rewriting what's possible. For many decades, these UN halls were almost exclusively filled with men. Women fought to enter, fought to be heard, fought to lead. Today, the voices, the talent, and the power of women and girls fill this room. Progress is undeniable, but where there was progress, there's also pushback, and we see this today as well. The fight to achieve gender equality, empower all women and girls, and ensure a world free from violence requires constant effort from all of us. I am here to tell you, to assure you, that the European Union is a leading ally in this fight. We are standing up for all women and girls, including those who are marginalized, silenced, or overlooked. But speaking up is not enough. Commitment is measured by actions, not words alone. So let me speak about what the European Union does to transform words into reality. First, on the EU level itself, because we are not exempt from the challenges of inequalities between men and women, we adopted a first ever law on combating violence against women and domestic violence. It ensures that different forms of violence against women and girls are criminalized in the whole of the European Union, not just country by country, that prevention, reporting, and support to survivors are strengthened, and that women get better access to justice and real remedies, not just promises on paper. Second, we are addressing violence in the digital world, deepfakes, non-consensual images, cyberstalking, cyber harassment, violence facilitated by technology that targets women and girls, often with complete immunity. In the European Union, these acts are all crimes. Forcing platforms to act and treating online gender-based violence as seriously as violence on the street, at home, or in the workplace. Third, we have made a rock-solid commitment and unprecedented investments into ending gender-based violence around the world as well. Together with the United Nations, the European Union founded the Spotlight Initiative and invested €500 million into what is one of the largest global efforts to end violence against women today. I am proud of that. And it's working. Across 28 countries, Spotlight has helped prevent violence against more than 21 million women and girls. It supported nearly 1 million girls to stay in school, and it engaged over 6 million men and boys, a theme that I'm happy to hear discussed here today, on positive masculinity, respectful relationships, and nonviolence. And our actions do not stop here. The European Union, together with UN Women, founded the ACT program, a €22 million investment to support feminist movements and women's rights organizations. Because we believe that real change starts, succeeds, and lasts where women organize, speak up, and lead. Because we believe that women's movements can move mountains. Also, we are creating alliances here at the United Nations. During the COVID-19 lockup pandemic, the EU launched a group of friends at the United Nations for the elimination of violence against women and girls. You know how many people, how many countries this group has in it today? Over 100. And it partners with civil society organizations, uniting efforts to end violence once and for all. Dear friends, a personal example as well. In the 2010s, I was the European Union's Special Representative for Human Rights. That means the European Union's person responsible for human rights around the world. And I traveled to many countries. You may remember terrorism at the time was a very big issue, ISIS, etc. And I was speaking to governments, asking them to respect human rights, and in some instances people would tell me, why are you poisoning the well, Mr. Lambrinidis, of our cooperation by raising human rights? We are fighting terrorism here. This is the ultimate goal. Can we not talk about other things? And I said, okay, let me answer your question with another question. And my question is, can you please tell me what is so scary about smart girls? Why did the Taliban plant a bullet in Malala Yousafzai's head, hoping to silence her when she was talking about girls' education? Why did Boko Haram in Nigeria abduct hundreds of girls from school? In Iraq, why did ISIS abduct and forcefully marry and do much worse to Yazidi girls? What's so scary about smart girls to terrorists? And the answer to that question, I think, is quite clear. Smart girls can become educated girls, and educated girls become empowered women, and empowered women change entirely the balance of power in any society. And the last thing that terrorists want is empowered societies. So you want to fight terrorists? Educate girls. I was not always successful, I'll let you know, with this argument, but I did make progress, and I'm proud of that. Now, also, too often, when we discuss women's rights, and I'm glad to hear the ambassador of Vietnam and so many others mentioned this year, men stay silent. But the fight for gender equality is not a burden women should carry alone. Men and boys have a huge responsibility. And what does that leadership look like? I submit to you it includes creating a safe space for women to come forward when something is not right. It includes listening to and believing survivors. It is calling out sexism, bias, and harassment when we see it. It includes empowering women and girls to be the best version of themselves and fulfill their full potential. It includes making sure that women are at the table when people meet, organize, and strategize. So here is my ask as I close. To the women and girls in this hall, keep inspiring us. Keep breaking barriers in space, in science, in sport, in politics, in diplomacy, online and offline. The European Union will stand with you, fight with you, and our doors will always be open to you. To the artists and content creators inside and outside this hall, you shape what millions see in their screens every day. You tell the stories. You set the trends. You can decide what the world will see and what fades into oblivion. Please use this power, as many of you do already, to change the world. Call out sexism and misogyny. Give a platform to survivors and to advocates. Help change the world with everyone else. And to everyone, women and men, girls and boys, the world will not change unless we change it. So let's do it. Thank you.
We now turn to virtual remarks from the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed.
Excellencies, friends, especially the young people here and online, it is a pleasure to welcome you to the United Nations for a global celebration of women's achievements across industries, on and off planet Earth, on this last day of Women's History Month. I thank RISE, the UN Spotlight Initiative, and the permanent missions of Sweden, Uruguay, and Vietnam for convening this important event. Growing up in Nigeria as the eldest of 5 daughters, I became aware very early of the barriers that women and girls face as they strive to fulfill their potential. I encountered them again in my own life as a woman in public service, as a mother raising 6 children while building a career. But I also learned that women do not simply endure barriers. They challenge them, break them, and widen the path for others. Despite the obstacles put in our path, women and girls have always played a role in humanity's greatest accomplishments, in science, business, education, government, civil society, and the arts. But all too often, our contributions are minimized or not recognized at all. Every woman who will speak here today is a testament to our collective resilience and determination. It is an honor for me to champion your stories. The sad fact remains that not a single country has achieved gender equality, our 5th Sustainable Development Goal. Indeed, the most pervasive barrier to equality is also one of the oldest, violence against women and girls. Today, at least 1 in 3 women will experience violence in her lifetime, simply because she was born a woman. This violence negatively affects her physical and mental health, education, finances, and her ability to work and participate in her community. Simply put, it will be impossible to achieve a world of peace, prosperity, and sustainability if the levels of gender-based violence remain as they are. At the United Nations, we're doing our part, leveraging the necessary partnerships, research, and resources to eliminate all forms of violence against women and girls. Through our Spotlight initiative, in partnership with the European Union, we've proven that making critical investments in appropriate laws and policies, institutions, services for survivors and violence prevention, and in our women's organizations, we will generate sustainable and lasting impact for communities and countries. Women and girls already have the solutions. It is a world that must listen and act. To the women and girls gathered here today, your identity and experiences are not a liability, but a strength. Whether you are breaking someone else's expectations or Earth's gravitational pull, be sure to hold the door open for the next generation. To the men and boys creating the conditions for women and girls to thrive is your responsibility too. We know that when girls are respected and supported, and women are equal partners in our homes, parliaments, and peace building, everyone wins. Our societies become more equitable, sustainable, and prosperous. So let's keep pushing boundaries until equality is the norm and not the exception, and the only limitation women and girls face is their own imagination. Thank you.
Please welcome back to the stage, astronaut Amanda Nguyen.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of today's event. I want to end today by sharing an answer that I found in space to a question I had for a decade. Why do we hold on to the things that hurt us? Packed away in the corner of my office is a small hospital band from the night I was raped. I should throw it away, I thought to myself, and as I was packing for the launch, I felt that band call out to me. At the astronaut village, I fretted over it. Part of going to space was to have enough escape velocity to be finally free from the worst day of my life. But the journey made me confront my identity. Did I actually want to bring the literal identifier of my rape? I punted the decision and thought, I'll just have it in my pocket. I don't need to take it out. In space, the 1-minute warning blared out. 1 minute to get strapped into your seat for descent back to Earth. The decision was now or never. And in that moment, my heart made the call, and I pulled her out. I finally knew why I had kept it all along. Somewhere inside me knew that I needed her courage, that it's okay to always be known for my rape, and that two things can exist at once, that we can bring all parts of ourselves, the painful and the successful. We are multitudes. As I descended down on Earth, I held on to her, to that hospital band, as we fell through the atmosphere. And I showed her the world that she changed, the world that she made safer for all. Perhaps time is a tesseract. We're connected to our future selves more than we know. Our dreams are already a reality. Our future reaches back to us to guide us in ways we don't understand. Why do we keep things that hurt us? 100 kilometers above Earth, I found my answer. Today might be the last day of Women's History Month, but we are still going to keep pushing for women's rights all year long. Today was about hope. Thank you so much for being here, for adding your voice to celebrate these women and to make this world a safer place for all. You proved to me that we can be multitudes. We can acknowledge pain, but also push for change and hope. You proved to me that no one is powerless when we come together, and no one is invisible when we demand to be seen. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for seeing me today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for joining us for today's event. The event has now concluded. We hope you have a wonderful